The message appeared on my phone the night before the wedding. My mom wants you for dinner tonight. She insists. 7 o'clock. Liam's words seemed innocent, but I could feel something underneath. A quiet pressure, a test I never agreed to take. I stared at the screen for a long moment, the air around me heavy with silence. My heart didn't race, it just paused. Then I typed back, "Of course. I'll be there." The day itself had been calm, almost deceptively so. The streets of Florence were glowing in soft afternoon light. Tourists laughing near the river. Cafe windows open with the smell of roasted coffee drifting through. Everything looked peaceful, but inside, I was rehearsing every possible version of that dinner. The smiles, the glances, the judgments. I knew what Clara, Liam's mother, thought of me. She hid her opinions behind polite words, but her eyes never lied. By noon, I called Isabella, my best friend. "Just breathe," she said softly. "You're not going there to win her over. You're going to show her you already belong." I smiled, wishing confidence came as easily as advice. When evening arrived, I wore a soft ivory blouse and a quiet gray skirt. My hair was pulled back neatly, my reflection calm, almost convincing. At exactly 7, I rang the doorbell. Liam's father opened with a kind smile, welcoming me in. The apartment smelled like wine and rosemary. Clara sat at the table, elegant and still, her lips curving into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. I sat down, straightened my posture, and whispered to myself, "Let's begin." Dinner began with quiet conversation. The kind that looks polite from the outside, but feels like a duel underneath. Clara asked about the wedding colors, about my family, about where I studied. Her tone was smooth, too smooth, each word carefully balanced between curiosity and criticism. I answered calmly, keeping my voice steady. I could sense Liam watching us, his eyes darting between me and his mother, silently praying for harmony. The food was perfect: roasted salmon, soft bread, a bowl of olives in the center. Yet every bite felt heavy, as if the air itself carried judgment. Clara smiled at something Liam's father said, then turned to me. "You must be very independent," she remarked. "I suppose you don't need much guidance." I smiled back. "I believe in balance," I replied gently. She tilted her head, clearly not expecting that. When Liam stepped out to answer a call, Clara's tone shifted. "Marriage is different from dating," she said. "You'll learn that soon." I met her gaze. "I know," I said softly. "It's about respect on both sides." Silence fell between us. Her fingers tapped the table once, then stilled. For the first time, she didn't respond. The rest of the meal passed without friction. But something had changed. The power in the room had shifted ever so slightly, like wind changing direction. When the dishes were cleared, I thanked her sincerely and excused myself. Outside, Florence's night air greeted me, cool, calm, and full of unspoken meaning. As I walked home through the narrow streets, I felt no anger, no victory, just clarity. Tonight wasn't about approval. It was about understanding who I was and what I would no longer allow. The next morning, I woke up to a message from Liam. "Mom wants to see you again. She said last night felt incomplete." My heart tightened. Incomplete? I couldn't tell if that meant she wanted to reconcile or finish what she started. Still, I agreed. Something inside me whispered that this wasn't just about dinner anymore. When I arrived, Clara greeted me at the door, her expression calm yet unreadable. "I'm glad you came," she said softly. "There's something you need to know before you marry my son." Her words sliced through the air like glass. She gestured toward the living room, where an envelope sat on the table. "Open it." Inside were photos. Liam with another woman. Intimate. Recent. My pulse froze. "This can't be real," I whispered. Clara didn't blink. "It is." I warned him not to play with fire, but he never listens. I felt dizzy, like the ground had vanished beneath my feet. "Why are you showing me this?" I managed to ask. "Because you deserve the truth before you destroy your life," she said. Her voice carried something strange. Not cruelty, but control. Like she'd been waiting for this moment. Tears burned my eyes. I left without a word, clutching the photos like poison. My mind replayed every laugh, every promise Liam had made. Each memory turned to ash. That night he called but I couldn't answer. I needed silence. I needed to think. Because this wasn't just betrayal. It was a test. And I wasn't going to fail. I didn't sleep that night. Every minute stretched endlessly, my mind replaying the same question. Was Liam really capable of this? By dawn, I decided to confront him. When he opened the door, his face said everything: guilt, fear, confusion. He didn't even try to fake a smile. Sophia, please, I can explain. Then explain, I said, my voice shaking but firm. He looked down, rubbing his temples. It was a mistake. Just once. It didn't mean anything. Just once. That phrase cut deeper than the pictures ever could. I stared at him, feeling my chest tighten. And you were going to marry me like nothing happened? He tried to reach for my hand, but I stepped back. You don't understand, he said, desperation rising in his tone. Mom found out. She's been blackmailing me ever since. Those pictures, she's the one who took them. The world spun. What are you saying? She caught us months ago, he said. She said if I told you, she'd ruin both of us. She wanted to control everything, even our marriage. I couldn't breathe. The betrayal wasn't just his, it was hers too. Clara hadn't been protecting me. She had been orchestrating everything, pulling strings behind the curtain. I left without another word. My heart didn't just break, it transformed. Because betrayal like that doesn't fade, it forges something new inside you. Something colder. Stronger. That's when I realized. This story wasn't ending. It was beginning. For days I vanished. No calls, no texts, no explanations. I needed to disappear. Not out of weakness, but preparation. People like Clara and Liam expected tears and breakdowns. What they didn't expect was silence. I moved into a small apartment across the river, the kind of place where no one asks questions. From there, I started watching, not stalking, just observing. Liam still went to work every morning, pretending his world hadn't collapsed. Clara still hosted her perfect dinners, smiling like a queen who believed her throne was untouchable. That illusion gave me strength. I began collecting pieces, little truths they had hidden. Old business files, family secrets whispered by servants, a bank transfer under Clara's name that didn't belong to her. Every lie left a footprint, and I was tracing each one. But revenge isn't about noise, it's about precision. So I played my role, the broken fiancé who needed closure. I sent Clara a message, calm and polite. Can we meet? I just want to talk, woman to woman. She agreed instantly. Her arrogance wouldn't let her refuse. That night, as I rehearsed my words in the mirror, I saw someone new staring back at me, someone colder, sharper. The version of me they created. I whispered to my reflection. You wanted control, Clara. Let's see how it feels when you lose it. And for the first time since everything fell apart, I smiled, not out of happiness, but purpose. Clara chose the same restaurant where we first met, elegant, quiet, filled with the scent of expensive wine and hypocrisy. When I walked in, she greeted me with a smile too polished to be real. Sophia, she said, I didn't think you'd want to see me again. I didn't, I replied. But I realized something. Sometimes peace requires confrontation. We sat across from each other. Every word felt like a blade hidden behind polite smiles. I began softly. You were right about Liam. He betrayed me. Her lips curved slightly. I only wanted you to see the truth. Yes, I said, leaning in. And I want you to see yours. I slid a small envelope across the table, just like she had done to me. Inside were documents, screenshots, recordings, and a transfer receipt linking her to a charity scam under her company's name. Her face went pale. Where did you get this? She whispered. From the same place you got those photos, I said quietly. People talk, Clara. Especially when they don't get paid. Her eyes darted around, panic blooming beneath her calm surface. I leaned closer. You taught me how to fight in silence. I learned quickly. She tried to speak, but I interrupted. I'm not here to destroy you, not yet. I'm here to give you a choice. Leave me and Liam alone, or I make this public. Her expression froze. For the first time, Clara Sergeyevna, the woman who controlled everything, had no words. As I walked out, I didn't look back. Revenge wasn't fire anymore. It was ice, slow, precise, and devastating. Days passed after that meeting. I expected Clara to strike back, but she didn't. Instead, silence hung in the air like a storm that never arrived. Liam tried calling again, dozens of times, but I couldn't bring myself to answer. I didn't hate him anymore. I just didn't feel anything. Then one evening, there was a knock at my door. When I opened it, Liam stood there, pale, tired, holding an envelope. "It's from my mother," he said softly. "She's gone." My stomach dropped. "Gone? What do you mean?" "She left the city," he said. "She transferred everything to charity." She said, "You showed her who she really was." For a moment, I couldn't breathe. This wasn't the ending I had planned. I expected war, not surrender. Inside the envelope was a note, Clara's handwriting, sharp yet trembling. "You wanted me to see my truth. I did. I won't ask for forgiveness, but I will disappear from your story." I stared at it for a long time. A strange calm washed over me. Revenge hadn't destroyed her. It had revealed her. And maybe that was enough. I looked at Liam, his eyes full of regret. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "So am I," said quietly. "But sorry doesn't rebuild what's already burned." He nodded, tears in his eyes, and walked away. As the door closed, I felt something unexpected. Peace. Not because I won, but because I no longer needed to. Months passed. Florence slowly became quiet again. The streets, the cafes, even the whispers in my head. I moved into a new apartment near the Arno River, where the light fell differently every morning, as if reminding me that nothing stays the same. Sometimes I still saw Liam from afar. He walked slower now, more thoughtful, carrying the weight of what he'd lost. We never spoke again, not out of hatred, but understanding. Some stories end not with revenge, but with realization. Clara never returned. Her name faded from the news, her company was dissolved, and her mansion was sold to strangers. Yet every time I passed that old neighborhood, I could almost hear her voice, proud, cold, then finally silent. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the city, I sat by the window with a glass of wine and whispered to myself, "You survived." People think revenge gives closure. It doesn't. It gives clarity. It strips away the illusions, the pretty lies we tell ourselves about love, loyalty, and control. What's left isn't victory, it's truth. I took a deep breath, watching the river shimmer under the fading light. Tomorrow would be another day, another chapter, but this time written on my own terms. And if someone ever asked me what happened before my wedding day, I'd simply smile and say, "He sent me a message. My mom wants you for dinner." And that's exactly when everything truly began.